I hate gay people! Is what I would say if I was some random uncle in his 50s in the Philippines. The good thing is, I am not that guy. Recently, I released a video talking about my experience on how I used to be homophobic but later on, turned around my perspective and now I am trying to advocate for gender. A lot of comments in the video mentioned how they also used to be homophobic but later on, eventually came out of the closet as bisexual, gay, or lesbian. This sparked an idea for a video. That's why, in this video, I will try to explain why religious homophobes turn gay. Let's start with the obvious villain, religion. For thousands of years, religions have set the rules for what is acceptable. They've built their boundaries using fear, guilt, and interpretation which sometimes are really subjective. Leviticus 18:22, do not lie with a man as with a woman. That is detestable. Ah yes, the Leviticus line every single religious person comes running to when there's a slight debate about sexuality. But context is everything. Scriptures from ancient Israel weren't made to consider policies for 21st century civilizations. They were setting up ritual boundaries about purity, lineage, and survival. James Brownson points out that early Christian purity codes weren't meant to be global, eternal moral absolutes. They were survival tactics. It was their way to set themselves apart from neighbors, ways to build a tribe with clear rules. Over time, the church turned sex itself into a battleground. Restraint meant holiness, pleasure, of course, considered unholy. And anything that aimed at increasing the world's population was labeled dangerous at best and sometimes even heretical. Medieval theologians, according to John Boswell, became taxonomists of sin. They literally drew up lists, and guess which desire always ends up at the very bottom. Homosexuality back then wasn't just a forbidden act. They said it's a symptom of being fundamentally wrong. The thing is, this wasn't always the story. Boswell's research documents mysterious rituals in early Christian communities that look a whole lot like same-sex unions before moral panic deleted them from record. Religion didn't just decide one day that queer people are sinners. They methodically set it in stone, turning private curiosity into a public stigma. And the shame that relates to homosexuality doesn't easily vanish. Sometimes it evolves, gets passed down, and eventually, everyone is homophobic. The internal contradiction religion builds? Psychology knows them all. Freud called it reaction formation. When you feel something scary or forbidden inside, you act out the reverse in public, loudly, and with gusto. An infamous 1996 study by Adams, Wright, and Lore, where they wired up straight men, some homophobic, some not, then showed them gay erotic videos. Guess who found it arousing? The men who protested against homosexuality in surveys. The louder the voice, the tighter the closet. Modern psych keeps piling on the receipts. Lefebvre and others found sexual minorities from religious backgrounds who internalize negativity against themselves are way more likely to suffer depression, anxiety, and general psychological turmoil. So Brown and Taylor show with meta-analytic force that strong religiosity massively correlates with internal conflict about sexuality. The harm isn't always visible. More often than not, they weep in private. So let's set the record straight. Nobody is turned gay by sin or satanic temptation. A lot of these folks were queer all along, but they learned to hate that part of themselves so deeply that every desire becomes a threat. Repression warps, but it doesn't go away. And when they eventually come out of the closet, it's not really conversion. It's just the truth finally came out. And let's not forget, the performance of purity is exhausting. Living in a constant state of denial means every slip-up feels like it's the end of the world. The closet, especially one built by religion, doesn't just hide. It traps people. Breaking news! Nobody's born homophobic. Prejudice is an inheritance handed down like your grandma's recipe. Allport described it as a habit. It's learned, rehearsed, and repeated. You don't hate gay people until someone teaches you to. Bandura's 1977 social learning theory explains this simply. Kids, copy what works. If dad mocks those people, or the pastor equates homosexuality with eternal damnation, children learn disgust before empathy. In these conservative spaces, shame is enforced with every way possible. Repression becomes a performance. You become so comfortable with it, you forget you're doing it. Judith Butler's idea is that gender and by extension, sexuality is an act, a performance made real by repetition. The conservative church is basically a studio. Each sermon is a script, each public action is a role. For many, queerness is wrong because it's off script. Homophobia as a learned reflex can also be unlearned. Exposure to difference doesn't make anyone gay. More so, it just makes gayness appear normal as it's supposed to be. Here's the twist. No one is turning anyone gay. It's just people finally stepping out of the role they were assigned. True tragedy isn't in the news that a religious person turned gay. It's in the long years of fear and loneliness that led up to it. For a lot of religious homophobes, the struggle is with the terror of losing faith, community, and family. To be seen is to risk everything. Repression, as Foucault says, doesn't make things go away. It just changes the vocabulary. Silence, prohibition, and denial can never truly erase desire. The more you try to hide it, the more obsessively you talk about it. Every sermon against sin is still haunted by the very thing it's trying to banish. That's why scandals are inevitable. The ending isn't that religious homophobes turn gay. They become what they always were. Human. Messy, complicated, and yearning. That closet full of shame was never their natural habitat. It was built for them, brick by brick, by centuries of culture and fear. If faith is supposed to heal, it can't do it by confusing repression for righteousness. As long as being gay is framed as the worst sin, religious institutions will keep producing stories like these until someone loves someone unapologetically. Every time you build a new closet, someone else's desire finds its way to the altar. And that, in the end, is the most human story of all. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. Did you like the surprise topic? Anyways, thank you for watching. If you love my work and would like to support me, you can do it on my Ko-fi page. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. There we could talk about multiple topics, where you can also suggest video ideas. Follow my socials and my avatar artist socials, which are linked down below. And as always, subscribe if you like eggs. Come out of the closet.